Sound on Sound here at Namm 2012. I'm here with Steve on the Moog booth, and you have a fetching little bass synthesizer to show us, don't you?
We do. This is called the Minitaur analog bass synthesizer. It's an analog bass synthesizer based on Taurus 1 and Taurus 3 circuits, all analog audio signal path, which is a 2 oscillator synth. You can detune the oscillators up to an octave apart from each other. We have sawtooth and square waveforms selectable on the front panel. These two oscillators run through the Moog filter, which is the Taurus 1 filter topology. Everything sounds really extra fat with it. Now we did a few little modifications to make it a little bit more versatile. We give it more mini Moog style envelope generators, so you can get really punchy bass sounds. And then we have an LFO module here. You can modulate the VCO or the VCF. You can go into the audio frequency modulation or really super slow modulation too. And that's controllable via a mod wheel. So there's the raw sound. And it does just amazing earth-moving bass. So everything that you see on the front panel is also controllable via MIDI. So you can integrate this into your DAW, your Live, Pro Tools, whatever. On the back, you'll see we have a classic DIN MIDI connection, a USB MIDI connection, analog, CV, and gate input, and then there's an external audio input as well, so you can process line level tracks through it. And there's a really cool feature I'd like to point out. This is for a lot of bass tracks. If you're doing sequence bass tracks and you have an analog synthesizer, one of the lovely things about analog synthesizers, the VCOs are always running. This is wonderful organic sounding phasing that happens. And you hear the sound goes up and down and up and down. And that's an arbitrary with whenever you start a note, which is both attractive, but it's also, if you're producing high impact bass tracks, it can mean that some notes sound a little softer or have less energy than other notes. So we have the thing that we developed called Note Sync. It's real simple. It basically you can restart the phase of the oscillators with every note.
Yeah.
So that every note pushes air in the same way. But that being said, as soon as you start the note, you're straight back into the analog sound of it, and it's
so it sounds really solid. It's compact. It's a great way to get a solid Moog bass sound in a small package.
Exactly. Yeah.
How much is this going to cost when it hits the streets, and when's it going to be out?
Okay, so in the U.S., our retail price is $679. Expect the street price to be around $599, and then we're starting production in a couple weeks, and by the end of February we'll be starting to get these things onto the streets and into musicians' hands.